Blog Talk Radio.
Any of the opinions expressed on About Oneness or by its guests do not necessarily reflect those of the Enlightenment Evolution Network.
You are always on my mind, and that's the case. I love you till the end of time. And every day, what to do, what to say, when you've only got today. What to do, what to say. I once heard a wise man say, I'm giving love, I'm giving love, I'm giving love, I'm giving love. Time's a blink of the eye to love someone in every moment that is mine. I cherish love, what to do, what to say, when you've only got today. Well, I'm giving love, what to do, what to say. I'm giving love when you've only got today. I'm giving love, I'm giving love, I'm giving love, I'm giving love. May the truth light your way and may you decide to follow your heart. It will not misguide you. Live life, love, you'll never go astray. What to do, what to say, I've got one suggestion. The answer is love. Now what's the question? That's how I want to spend my day. Just giving love, what to do, what to say. I'm giving love when you've only got today. Well, I'm giving love, what to do, what to say. I'm giving love when you've only got today. Well, I'm giving love, 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 I'm giving love.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is Karen Neumann and the show About Oneness. We're on the Enlightenment Evolution Network, and it is Sunday, November the 9th. A fine welcome to just everyone here. I want to go ahead and introduce my guest today. As a child, she always had a keen interest in spirituality and particularly mediumship. She was sensitive, and the event of seeing her deceased grandmother standing by her bed led her to find out what she could do with that sensitivity. She signed up for a course in intuitive development and later went on to study at the very well-known, renowned Arthur Findlay College in England. She developed a practice of mediumship to bring comfort to those who seek contact with those on the other side, as well as teaching a whole new generation of mediums to develop their talents. I'm speaking about Anneke Klaassens, and I'd like to welcome Anneke to the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank
Glad
you.
to be here.
Yes, because I would say the majority of the people listening, and I don't want to categorize, but I would say the most of them are not from Holland. They're not from the Netherlands. So if you could, can you just tell a little bit about yourself and how you really, I just mentioned that you had an experience with your grandmother after she had passed on, and that really sort of awoke in you. But talk to me about, yourself as a child growing up and your sensitivity and how that led you to become a medium.
Well, when I was very sensitive, and I was always sort of from the outside looking in. And when I was about 18, I was very interested in astrology, so I studied astrology for many years, and I was also very interested in mediumship, but I also had the idea that you had to see people all the time, which I didn't. And so I really left it a little bit, and I started at a local television station in Holland, where I interviewed a lot of people. I was really shocked. And then I went looking for how to develop it. And I did a course, and it fell right into place. And then what you said before, I went to the Arthur Findlay College, and it just felt like home.
Well, the Arthur Findlay College, for people who don't know, can you just tell people what that is? And because in America they may have heard of it. It's very popular here in Europe, but in America they probably don't know it unless they follow someone like John Holland, who sort of brought it to the American awareness. But what is Arthur Findlay?
Arthur Findlay left his house. He did a lot of research of mediums. Mm-hmm. After doing all that research, he wrote also a lot of books. He left his house to the Spiritual National Union in England, and he said, I want my house to be used for mediumship. So it's a college, especially for developing mediumship and ethical mediumship. So it's really the only real college of mediumship in the world.
Yeah, it is. I think so. And there's little places that have things, but I don't think there's any other school that's specifically dedicated to the degree of having a full course curriculum every week of the year, other than Arthur Findlay.
Yeah.
And so it's quite amazing. I still haven't been there. I definitely want to go, and whenever I do find out I am going to the UK, I always check their schedule to see if there's something that I can participate in.
Yeah,
because I would like to go there. I definitely would. And so from studying Arthur Findlay, you developed your own mediumship practice. Is that correct? Are you there?
Yes.
You cut out for a second.
As soon I did a few courses, and then Ladies Patilla and Janet Parker advised me to teach on my own. Mm-hmm. And so I just started with a little group, and then I did a television show in Holland where I trained one of the hosts of a television show. And after that, it just went very fast. And since then, I'm teaching a lot of groups, and I'm really enjoying that.
I think I saw that. It was Patty, right? Is that Patricia? Patty.
Yeah, that is right.
For the people who are not from the Netherlands, there's a quite famous talk show host called Patricia. What is her last name?
Patty Bart.
Exactly. And she was married to one of the VJs from MTV, one of the American VJs. Am I right or not?
No, that's another one.
Oh, that's another one. Oh, my goodness. Okay, I have them mixed up.
That's her friend.
Oh, that's her friend. Okay, but Patty was in a girl band, is that right? Or, okay. She was in a famous girl band.
Yes, and she was doing the Uri Geller show.
The Uri Geller. Well, everyone in America will know Uri Geller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was on this show, and she wanted to develop her own sixth sense, as they call it. And they asked me to train her, and I did that. And when we did the first take, we saw immediately how mediumistic she was. So instead of we're doing the Uri Geller show, they made it an extra special, just her and me. And a lot of people watched it, and it showed how mediumship can be done.
Yes. Well, okay. There's a lot of directions. The person who founded the Enlightenment Evolution Network, he is a channel, but he comes out of the spiritualist church. That's where he first discovered his own mediumship.
Okay.
But in America, he was part of a spiritualist church, and he went through, they had a training there, and he went through their training. So maybe you can just talk a little bit about the history of, because I say that spiritualist church mediumship and sort of UK mediumship, it follows a very specific structure. Whereas the American mediumship, and this is what was funny, is when I did take a course at Anneke's, her practice, which she has, but it was taught by Mavis Patilla, who's another wonderful medium from the UK. And the first thing that Mavis said to me is she said she could tell I was an American medium versus a UK-trained medium.
Yes.
Because the UK-trained mediums and the sort of European-trained Arthur Findlay spiritualist church-trained mediums have a different structure. So maybe you could talk a little bit about how that is and what I'm just trying to communicate.
Yes, they do have a structure, and the spiritualist churches in England, we don't have in Holland. We don't have spiritualist churches. We have spiritual centers, and we have a few people in Holland that are teaching also at the Arthur Findlay College. But it goes back to, I think, 1848, where there was actually in America the Fox sisters, and there were sisters that heard banging on their walls.
Right.
And they discovered that the banging came from a man who passed before and was buried in their cellar. And from that point, official spiritualism, modern spiritualism started. And from that time, there were many seances in the past. And, it's in England, they follow a bit of that structure. They really want to hear evidence of, if you give a message to someone, you really have to first start with evidence of the person you're bringing through. Right. You can't say, I've got your grandmother here and she loves you and she gives you flowers. No, you need to know, I've got your grandmother here. She was 86 when she passed of a heart attack. She had 3 children and a lovely husband and 6 dogs. Something like that. That's right. The evidence they're bringing through, and then you can give the message.
Right. Yeah, that was when we did the class. There was an exercise where we were all sitting, and we had to come up sort of very quickly, and we had to. The exercise was sitting. We were all sitting. I guess there was 25 of us, maybe even more, and we were sitting in chairs, and Mavis would point to us, and we would have to stand up, and we'd go to the front of the room, turn around, look at somebody, and give the name, the way the person died, and some piece of information, just like that, without any hesitation. Yep. And if you hesitated, you had to sit down.
Yes.
And it's really intimidating, And I did it. I was so proud, but oh my goodness, your heart is like, oh,
yes.
Yes. So it was really good, but okay, we're talking about the structure of it. But for people who don't know, and I, a lot of people think they know. They've watched television. They've watched the show Medium. They sort of have this idea of a medium. Of course, it's based on Alison Dubois, who is an actual medium. But for just the average person getting to know what a medium is, what is a medium, and what is the purpose of a medium?
Well, a medium is really the bridge between two worlds. It's someone who can contact the people that are died, and they give through the messages and the love, really, because all they bring through it really is the love, because that's how the connection is made.
Right. So it's not so much that people are just sort of picking. Well, that's actually. I was going to say something, but that's not actually true. I was about to say it's not that you're necessarily picking up random people, but it is generally that the person who's in front of you, you're going to pick up someone connected to that person. Whether it is, and everybody has a mother, a father, that's guaranteed. Everybody will have grandparents. Mm-hmm. But, you're going to pick up somebody, it could be a friend or a sister, a brother, a child that would be important to them and would have a message.
Yes, normally people come to me and they really want to, get someone through, like his mom or dad or a child. And what I do is I first give the evidence of maybe how they passed or how they lived their lives, and then they tell me something about, sometimes what is going on in the lives of the person in front of me, things that happened after they passed, all sorts of stuff they want to share with them. And sometimes people die suddenly and there's no way that someone could say goodbye. And so going to a medium can be very healing for people, because they can still say goodbye and say the last words they need to say.
Right.
So
that is sort of the main purpose, isn't it? Really to give a person, the person who's still living, the evidence that there is something going on in the spirit world, that there is more to this life. So it's sort of the confirmation that their loved one or whomever they're bringing through is still out there, is still, functioning in on some level. And then at the same time to give that person the comfort and the closure to be able to move on.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a situation once where, and I think you know her, but I can't remember her name at the time. She did a demonstration. I went to her, and I just wanted to see a proper demonstration. And she did a demonstration, which, for people who don't know, is basically it's where the medium will pick out different people from the audience. Well, she'll get information and she'll pick out different people in the audience or the group and tell them something about a loved one. And she had picked up a boy who had killed himself, and he had jumped in front of a train in Steenwijk, which is a city where I used to work. And she was saying, she didn't say his name, but she described the situation perfectly. And then she said the city where it happened. And she didn't quite know who the message was for. And I wasn't expecting it to be for me because I wasn't close to this person. But it was someone that I had worked with, and he was quite a young boy. And so I said, I know who that is. And she said, well, he wants you to promise to give this message to his mother.
Okay.
And I thought, no. I gotta call this guy's mother now.
Yeah.
Because she really was, he was insisting, the boy was really insisting to the medium that I promise to do it.
Yes.
And I thought, well, why am I getting this message,
Because you were there.
Yes. Yes, I was there. And the fact was that it was, I think because at that time it was important for me to understand the responsibility that you have in saying you want to do this work, that if you make a promise to the other side, you have to keep it.
Yes.
And that it's really important. So I did. And I didn't even have his family's number. So I had to call a place where I used to work, and the first person I got on the phone was the secretary, who was quite a lovely lady. She was from the UK, luckily, for some reason. And I explained to her the situation, and she said, "Oh, you have to call her.
Yeah.
You have to call the mother." I said, "Well, I do." And she said, "Can you get?" I said, "Can you get me the number?" She says, "I don't have the number, but I do have. But there's still a colleague here that used to work with him that was close to him." So I had to talk to him, and he was able to give me the family's number. But in that meantime, those people were touched by that message.
Yes.
And then I got the mother on the phone, and I had left a message, and I said, I have some information for you I'd like to share with you. I'm an old colleague of your son. And she called me right back, and she knew what had called her.
Okay.
She just had this feeling. Her daughter had said, "I have this feeling we're going to hear from him." She had just said it like the day before.
Yeah.
So when I gave her the message, basically that he was all right, that there was nothing they could have done, and that, you know, he was doing fine and that he loved them. For them, it was they were waiting for this message.
Yes, amazing how it works.
It was amazing. And for me, it was so, it gave me the idea of that mediumship is a very important part for some people for their healing. And if I'm going to be a good medium, I have to always remember, you know, it's not a party trick.
No, it's not. It's a big responsibility, because you are the voice of the people that don't have a voice anymore. So your main responsibility is with the people in the spirit world. Exactly.
I just want to say there are some people that are logging in on the lines, and they may be listening. If they do have a question for Anneke, because we are going to be talking about mediumship, the importance of mediumship, and a little bit we'll be talking about developing your own mediumship, you can call in. The number in America or in the U.S. would be 347-308-8788. Or if you are listening via the internet and you have Skype, you can go to the Blog Talk Radio site and type in, looking for the show About Oneness. It'll bring up the show. And on your screen will be a little Skype. Push that. Then the show will call you. And when you are on the line, you can just push 1 on your dial pad, and it will say that your hand is up and that you have a question. Also, for the people that are in the chat that are listening, if they have a question, they can type it in, and we can present it. So the questions tonight are specifically about mediumship, what is it, or any questions you may have about how to develop your own mediumship, or any questions you would have. So that's where we are so far. So there was something else that I wanted to ask. Oh, I know. I wrote down something when you were talking, and I was having a thought. Well, it was a thought that I had before, but because mediumship it went through a popularity, I think, during the time of the show Medium, and then different times you'll have different mediums that have television shows. So that sort of brings some awareness to it, and a lot of people, become interested in it. But I found for myself that as my spirituality developed, my mediumship developed.
Yes.
And I saw my mediumship as not really being the goal, but sort of a side effect of being open spiritually.
Yeah, the two actually, they have to go together. If you don't develop spiritually, you can't develop as a medium. So it's a big part of mediumship to raise your awareness, to get your knowledge, to develop all the time. You never stop developing as a medium.
Right.
Because the spirituality and all your knowledge, if you ask your spirit helpers or you ask questions, I always end up by asking more questions, because the universe is so big and there's so much that we don't know, and you have to be interested in it. Otherwise, it is going to be just a party trick, and you have to get to know what's going on in the spirit world, how it works, what's happening when you pass, all that kind of things, and there's more knowledge about it because there's more people that have a near-death experience, and they write about it. It comes out in public more, so we'll get to know more about it, and I feel that's really important. Instead of just doing, oh, here's your grandmother, I've got this and this to say, and bye. It's more than that. It's developing your own soul, your own spirit, and that's what it's all about.
So for someone who's starting to open up, what would you say if there's the symptoms of having medium? Because take, for instance, the person, Patty, that you helped, the television personality. What was it about her that people said, "Oh, she may be a medium." If you think you're a medium, what is it about it? Is everyone a medium, or can everyone be a medium?
Everyone can develop at some stage, but everyone can learn to play soccer, but not everyone is going to be in the national team. So just the same with mediumship. It takes a lot of practice. Some people are really born with the gift. Other people really work hard for it. But you can all develop at some stage. And we've all got intuition. We all know sometimes when the phone rings, it's you're thinking of someone and the phone rings, or you think of an event that's going to happen and it's happening. It starts with little things like that, and sometimes you're talking to someone and you can sense so much more about them. That's how it starts. And if you feel that when you're in a situation and someone talks to you, but you think, well, I don't know if the person is telling me the truth, I can sense this and this and this, then you're probably more open to it and you can develop it. But the most important thing is that you're interested in it and you must like it, because otherwise it doesn't work. Right.
As a medium yourself, what is the most important, because I'm sure because now you've been a medium for I don't know how many years, but what has your journey been like? I mean, how has it changed you? What has your journey been to where you are now? How you view your work and what you're doing versus, say, the beginning where you thought, oh, I'm picking up something. I want to know what this is. How have you changed as a medium?
It changed, I must say, my whole life. When I started, it was more about giving the best evidence, and I wanted to get more and more evidence. And after a while, it changed, and it started. Now I'm more interested also in the philosophy, in people's development of their own souls, the bigger picture. So it keeps changing, and it made me realize it changes the way I look at life, really.
And how do you look at life then?
Well, if I look at the universe, I know, you're all about oneness. And it is, we're all one. We came from the same source, and we're going back to the same source. And if you look at the universe, that lots of things that I feel are arranged for us. Maybe we chose it before we came here. There's things in life we need to go through. There's lessons in life we need to learn. And I find it quite interesting of how the universe works. So it's not just mediumship, it's the bigger picture, really.
Right. It's just the wholeness and becoming a more complete person, really, and a well-rounded person.
Yeah.
Yeah. If someone who is sensing that they have sensitivity, let's just say it like that. Maybe they don't know if they're a medium. Oh, I know. What is the difference between a medium and a psychic?
A psychic is someone who can pick up the energy of the people around them. So if I have a conversation with you and I'm psychic, I can pick up things from you, the people that are alive. And a medium is someone who can pick up information from people that are deceased.
Right. And is every medium a psychic, or every psychic a medium?
Not every psychic is a medium, because it starts with developing your psychic abilities. Because it's easier to get an answer from someone who's alive than if you practice on someone and you're saying, well, I can sense this with you, you get an answer straight away. So that's easier than from someone who's in the spirit world.
It is because the only confirmation you really have then is the person who is you're talking to. And I know that when you're sometimes doing a mediumship type of reading for someone, they may or may not remember what you're saying.
Yeah, sometimes most of the time that's the best information. You get a piece of information and the people in front of you don't recognize it, but once they go home, they can look into it and they find the answer and they know it's true. And that's really the best type of information you can get.
Yes.
You know it's from the spirit world, because where else does it come from?
Exactly. I remember I was one time watching John Holland. He had a show, and he was talking to this man who was very distraught, and he had lost his son, and he was very, very distraught, and he kept saying something about socks. He was saying, John Holland was picking up the man's son, and the son was talking about socks. And the father was just like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. No, I don't know what you're talking about. And he was really, and John Holland is not one to let anything go.
No.
So he was like, listen, I know that there's socks involved. And he goes, and he said, and the man was and he was crying. It was excruciating, because he was really upset. He just wanted to hear something from his son. John Holland was like, socks. and finally, the man's wife was sitting next to him, and she looked at him and she said, honey, you're wearing his socks.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But I know from experience that if you give some evidence and the person is saying to you, no, if you're not sure, it can really throw you off. You can really question yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're getting the information and the person is saying to you, no, absolutely not. That is not true. I don't know what you're talking about. You're wrong.
Yeah. It can really put you off, but I always leave it saying, okay, well, I leave it with you, think about it, and call me up tomorrow and say you're sorry because you find No, I'm right.
I'm waiting for my apology tomorrow. Yeah. What is it? Maybe you can say of any of the readings that you've given, what's been sort of your top two that have stayed with you and have made an impact on you? And they have to be funny or just amazing. Funny and amazing as well.
Funny and amazing. Well, it's last year I was with some colleagues here that were over from England, and there was a knock on the door, and someone I know came on Saturday night and asking me if her little nephew was gone. He disappeared, and if we can have a look into that. Well, we had a look into that, and we could see that he was driving off after he went to a bar, and we saw him going into the woods, and but we couldn't really feel if he passed or not. And we gave the information to his mom as well of where we thought he was. But we were really talking to each other why we couldn't sense if he was passed or not. And that night we went to sleep, and I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and this little boy was standing next to me. And I just thought, oh my God. And he showed himself to me, so I knew that they found him. And the next morning when I woke up, I had a message from that lady saying, well, they found him exactly at the place that you described. So of course we were really not very happy that he passed. And I stayed in contact with that lady, and like 6 months later, his mom came for a sitting. Mm-hmm. And he was already waiting for her. Before she came in, he was already there. And what was really amazing to me is that because this boy took his own life because the world was too heavy for him. And his mom said to me, "I'm really proud of him." And I said, "Proud of him?" And she said, "Yes, I'm really proud of him because I know what he was going through, and I'm really proud of him. No one else of the family can understand me, and this boy was telling his mom of everything that happened, and you could sense the healing and the love that was going on there, and being a part of that it's amazing to me.
Wow.
And how you can say, "I'm proud of my son." That's really love.
That is love.
That's true love. And to be a part of that and feel the love of the boy and the mother and be like in the middle of that, I think can top that really.
No, you can't. I had something happen I'd like to share with you. It was last year, actually at the household birth. My dog is now barking. The household birth, I was there and we were giving readings. And I was reading, there was a lot of people and we were just reading them one after the other, after the other, after the other. And there were psychics and all kinds of different people doing healings, but I was doing mediumship. And so the whole day, I just had a lot of people on the other side sort of around. Yeah. And I would say that's the biggest crowd of the other side that I've ever hung around because, there were so many people coming. But when I'm reading people, I tend to write. I write stuff down and I draw and I scribble. And a girl had sat down in front of me, and she was asking me questions, and I said, "I'm picking up a Patrick," and she said, "No, I don't know Patrick," and I said, "Okay, no problem." And by this Patrick, I drew some flowers, and I thought, okay, so I had drawn it, but because she had said no about Patrick, I had just let it go. And we went on to have a reading, and that was fine. And then about 45 minutes later, I think I had done 2 more readings in the meantime. It was the last reading of the day. A woman sat down in front of me, and she said, "I want you to give me a reading about my son." And she handed me a picture.
Patrick.
Yeah. And I said, and I just instantly felt him there, and I started talking about the relationship and how they were so very close, and I got the way that he died, and I picked up some things, but I wasn't getting his name. And I said, "What is his name?" And I said to her, I said, "He's been here a long time. He's been waiting to talk to you." And she said, "I've been wanting to come over here all day, but this is the first chance I've gotten." And I said, "Well, he's been here waiting for you," not knowing that I had written down the word Patrick. And then she said, "His name is Patrick." And I said, "Wait a minute." And I went back in my notebook and I said, "Wait, I had a Patrick here." And I said, and I drew this little picture of flowers. I said, "I guess he's bringing you flowers," which is, the very typical thing that people say. And she said, "No, she's not bringing me flowers." And I said, "Oh, but I drew some flowers." She said, "No, his last name was Blumen."
Oh, yeah, that's flowers in Dutch.
That's flowers in Dutch. And I thought, wow. I said, "See?" And she said, and it's a very touching moment, and I said, "See, he was even waiting here for you." And those are those moments that are so irrefutable that he was there, he had already come, waiting for her to give her the idea, because her big question was, does he know that I'm looking for him? Does he know that I'm wanting to see him? And I said, well, not only does he know that you're wanting to see him, but he was here before you, waiting on you.
Yes.
And those are those moments that you think, oh, this is why I'm doing this.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, they're special moments.
The very special moments.
Yes.
What I'd like to do, Anneke, is we're going to play the announcements, which is about 9 minutes long, I think, if I'm correct. 9 minutes and 19 seconds. And then when we come back, we'll talk about how to develop your own mediumship and what are some of the things that people should do. Yeah. And then also too some of the misconceptions about different things. So, and if you have a question for Anneke, you can type it in the chat or you can call in, and the number is 347-308-8788. And we'll be back in just 9 minutes and 19 seconds. Okay.
Hi, this is Karen Neumann from the show About Oneness, and here's what's coming up on the Enlightenment Evolution Network 1 and 2, starting on Monday, November the 3rd, until Sunday, November the 9th. Simply put, Rob Gautier, founder of the EEN and the host of the show that started it all, the Enlightenment Evolution Hour, has put together the greatest metaphysical radio network ever. 7 days a week, we have shows that will aid you on your path to enlightenment, evolution, and ascension. On EEN1, Mondays, it's 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is Heart to Heart Talk Radio with your host, Daniel Scranton. Join Daniel and his featured guests discussing a wide variety of metaphysical topics. Daniel channels the Creators, the Hathors, Ophelia the Fairy, and Archangel Michael, and the latest, the Unicorn Collective. Daniel and his guests will take phone calls and questions, and it's sure to generate high-frequency discussions. You can find more about Daniel at his website, danielscranton.com, and also on Facebook. Go to the Events tab on Daniel's website to learn more about Daniel's upcoming events. Daniel's guest this Tuesday is Doug Baseball Guy White, and on the 10th of November, his guest is Terry Piowa. Terry is an intuitive, psychic, and astrologer. On Tuesday at noon, also 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, please join hosts Megan Crandallmeyer and Rachel Archelaus for Radio Inspiration, Expression, and Abundance for their show, Soulfulpreneur. Spiritual business specialists Rachel and Megan will bring you inspiring conversations with people who are living their soul purpose. Frequent guests include psychic mediums, channelers, coaches, artists, and authors. They end every show with psychic readings and business coaching. Your questions about your spiritual business or life purpose journey are welcome. Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific, is the show that started it all, the Enlightenment Evolution Hour with host Rob Gautier. Rob channels Treb on the first Wednesday of each month and will take callers' questions. On the third Wednesday, we'll have special guests such as guest channelers and other metaphysical teachers. The other 2 Wednesdays are freestyle call-in shows to discuss whatever callers have on their minds. Tune in to Rob on Wednesday nights, and you can also find him at trebchanneling.com and on Facebook at the Enlightenment Evolution Network group page. Rob has 2 special announcements. Starting on Sundays from September 14th, trebchanneling.com offers hour-long meditation classes. Please go to trebchanneling.com to register. Another project near and dear to Rob's heart is the much-anticipated sequel to the groundbreaking film Tuning In, called Tuning In Now. The movie will feature channelers such as Daryl Anka and Bashar, Lee Carroll and Cryon, and our very own Rob Gautier and Treb. Tuning In Now will explore the amazing work of today's top channels and how they are helping to awaken the consciousness of the planet. The film is in fundraising stages at the moment, and with a contribution for as little as $15 all the way up to $50, you can help make sure that this film is made. Please go to indiegogo.com, that's Indie, I-N-D-I-E, GoGo, G-O-G-O.com, and type in the search Tuning In Now 2. That's the number 2. Tuning In Now with the number 2. On Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific, join host Philip Malika with the Consciousness Evolution Hour. Join Philip and his special guests and co-hosts as they discuss the shift, ascension, timelines, metaphysical concepts, and the 5th dimension. Find Philip at the Consciousness Evolution 2.0 group page on Facebook and on YouTube. On Friday, The Earth Experience with your host, Kalina Angel, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. The Earth Experience explores our soul's expansion through our human experience on Earth. Kalina will help you to navigate and expand through the exciting confusions that we are manifesting as new 5D beings. On Sundays, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Pacific, is my show, About Oneness. About Oneness is a weekly radio program focused on celebrating the ongoing conscious awakening of our planet and our realization of oneness. I'm an American originally from Charleston, South Carolina, now living in Europe, The Hague, the Netherlands. I'm an integrated channel, medium, Reiki master, and metaphysical teacher. I have a varied and diverse background, including that of being a singer, dancer, writer, as well as working in the sport, nutrition, and fitness world. As a channel, I bring forward the information of my non-physical guides called Theos, whose message is always that of oneness and unconditional love. This show for me is about integrating all of my experiences and following my highest excitement, which is tapping into the truth of the universe. If you would like to find more about me and my show and my upcoming guests, as well as see many videos and channelings and teachings, you can go to aboutoneness.com. My guest on Sunday, November the 9th, is medium Anneke Klaassen from the Netherlands. Anneke attended the world-renowned Arthur Findlay College in the UK, and as a mentor, she has Mavis Patilla. If you have questions about mediumship and tuning in to those that have passed on, have your questions ready because Anneke will be live and taking callers' questions. On the Enlightenment Evolution Network 2, on Tuesdays, join host Victoria Vives at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific, hosting Earth, Sky, People Radio, your bridge between heaven and earth. Subjects will include planet Earth becoming part of an intergalactic society, star seeds and extraterrestrial life, living in oneness with one another, with Mother Earth and with life beyond Earth, the Interstellar Alliance, also known as the Galactic Federation of Light, music, frequency and sound healing, question and answer interviews, shamanism, ancestral wisdom, and the star nations, self-sustainative and regenerative living, and much, much more. Go to victoriavives.com/radio where people can start submitting questions for upcoming shows. Victoria's show on Tuesday the 4th is Victoria's Secret to Fall in Love with Life on Earth, special training for both star seeds and earthling. On Tuesday the 11th, her guests are New Earth Music and New Earth Theater, bringing a new dimension of consciousness to music and entertainment. On Saturday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 6 p.m. Pacific, the Pied Piper and Texas Rebel hosting the show Disclosure Now. Disclosure Now is the On the Edge of Our Seats show that covers all topics of disclosure, from the world's most famous and obscure UFO cases to cryptozoology, conspiracies, and all things that go bump in the night. Pied Piper started his journey in Michigan in 1993 as a preteen seeing Bigfoot and never could get enough of investigating all things paranormal. Texas Rebel is a wild Texas man who loves the same journey and has studied these same things for years. Join them as they cover all things in the human experience that just cannot be answered by anyone. Listen here and call in on the number 347-215-8586. Coming soon on Sundays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Pacific, The Resonance and Tension, hosted by Soul and Neil Gar. The Resonance and Tension show is dedicated to all things frequency and vibration. They will showcase conscious musicians who infuse frequencies into their music and have set out to uplift and raise the vibration of humanity through their music. They will have in-depth discussions with various artists about their passion, purpose, and personal journey that led them to where they are now. Additionally, they will routinely have guests on the topics of free energy, technology, and other quantum modalities and technologies that are coming into existence now. The Resonance Intention is a platform for artists, musicians, and inventors to increase awareness of their personal approach in order to contribute to the paradigm shift we are currently within. And remember, you never have to miss any show on the Enlightenment Evolution Network 1 or 2. All shows are available to listen to again immediately after they air on playback. All right, back to the show.
So we're back. Anneke, are you there? Did you get some water? And
Yes.
Yes, okay, perfect. So we were in a discussion because we've been talking sort of about mediumship, but you are a wonderful teacher, and
Thank you.
you've made your life work, at least part of it, about training, people to develop their own mediumship.
Yes.
So because I know that you have different levels of classes, I suppose that's sort of beginning, medium, and advanced.
Mm-hmm.
But what are the sort of stages and what is the training that someone would go through in order to develop their own mediumship?
Well, I started a few years ago with a year course training, and that year course was about 10 lessons. And after the 10 lessons, I found that, it was just basic training.
Mm.
So then I decided to do another year and decided to do another year. So it's a 3-year course now. And
Wow.
what I'm doing in the 3 years is, what I find really important is that people get the knowledge of the spirit world, the knowledge of mediumship, and they can develop all parts of mediumship. What I find really important is that they develop also as giving private sittings.
Mm-hmm.
So I let them practice a lot. I will sit in with private sittings. I will give them advice how to develop even better. And my groups are small, so it's because I find it important to give a lot of personal attention to people, because that's the only way to really develop.
Right.
So it's a 3-year course, and after that, there's another course I just started with. It's called Journey of the Soul, mm-hmm. and it goes just a little bit deeper into your own soul. And I've just started that, and it's really great. I love what I do. It doesn't feel like work. It's just loving to see the people develop and be happy, and it's great.
I'm glad. So people, because they can have a private sitting with you as well, right? If someone who's listening would like to have a reading with you, they can do that no matter where they are in the world, via Skype, I believe.
Yes, yeah.
So what is your website, and how would someone contact you?
Well, my website is www.annekeklaassens.nl. And if they send me an email, I can make a Skype appointment, and we can call each other on Skype, and we're doing the sitting. So, the spirit world is all around us. So as soon as I have contact with someone, even on Skype, I can still contact their loved ones. It doesn't need to be someone sitting in front of me. It can be through Skype, because the spirit world knows when they have to be there before we do.
Exactly. Sometimes I always get the idea that they're the ones arranging the meetings more than we are.
Yes, Mavis always used to say to me, if you want people to come to you, you do your advertising in the spirit world, because if you do your job correctly, they will send other people to you.
That's true.
That's true.
That is true. That's very true. Yeah. So when someone does come for a reading, what is it that they should expect, or what is it that will happen? And what kind of things do you tell people? What kind of things do you not tell people? Let's just say it like that.
Well, I don't give them any future readings, because that's not the job of a medium. Because if I would tell someone, well, you're going to change your job in 6 months, people expect it really to happen, and maybe it's not meant to happen. I don't know. Sometimes people say really want a relationship. I can see it in their auric field. I can pick up that they really want that, but it doesn't mean that it's going to happen. So the difference between we're saying a future prediction, it's something you can pick up from the auric field if someone actually wants something, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen. And so that's what I absolutely do not do. If people come for a reading, I ask them, do they want someone from the spirit world, or are they coming for themselves? If they're coming for themselves, I'm going to look into their auric field to see what's happening, and I can give them advice of how to go on with their questions. And if they come for someone special in the spirit world, I'm going to look who's there. I don't know in front who they come for, so I'll just see who's there. And sometimes they come for mom and also grandmother or someone else comes in. So I always leave it open for who is coming through. So I give them information about the people that are in the spirit world, and we talk about their lives as well.
And is there always a message for someone? Is there always something to tell someone?
Yes, but the message can sometimes be, I love you. And sometimes it is, well, I've seen that you've changed my picture, and thank you for that. And I know you're talking to me, and I know you always say good night to me, and you know I can hear you. Simple things like that are, for people, very important messages.
They are, because they become messages that are so very personal that it's just a confirmation.
Yes.
I wanted to tell you something that I on the poster, the picture that I made for you for this show, I pulled it from your website, and you have a big feather bottom of the front page of your website on AnnekeKlaassens.nl. And if anyone's wondering about the spelling of that, you can see it in the listing, but Klaassens is Klaassens. So make sure you spell it right when you're looking. But she's the only Anneke Klaassens on the internet, so she will pop up. But you do have a feather on the front page at the bottom. And I put that feather on your poster.
I saw that, yes.
Is that a feather that's special for you?
Well, there is a friend of mine is really into feathers. She finds little white feathers everywhere, and she says that's a sign of her mom coming through, or wants to say that she's there. So it is. Well, I do have something with blue butterflies. And you find one on my website as well, because before my mom passed to the spirit world, she said, I want my card, and on that card I want a blue butterfly. And my partner Monique has made a card for her, and she said, oh, did I want that? And I said, yes, she told me, and she didn't remember. But she was really happy with it, and it's a sort of a sign between me and my mom. Whenever I see a blue butterfly, it shows that she's there.
Well, today what was happening, it wasn't a butterfly, but I had put that. I like the fact that your picture is a black and white photo, because I always usually have color. So I made a much different picture than I normally have, and I had to really dig to find a black and white picture in order to be able to do it. And then I had your little feather there. But today I went into my kitchen, and I was about to go outside with my dogs, and I grabbed something off my counter to put away, and down came this beautiful white feather.
Yeah.
And I thought, where did that come from? Because I'm inside the house. It's on my kitchen counter. I don't know where this feather came from. And I thought, well, that's funny. I wonder why I'm getting this feather. And then as I was walking the dog, right before we came home. We go in the forest and we walk in the bos, as it's called in Dutch. We were walking, and then as I came home and I was getting to come around the corner to my door, a perfect white feather just floated down in front of me.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, this is for Anneke. This is the fact that this is her, her thing. So twice today, feathers were floating into my existence.
Amazing. Yeah, a friend of mine, we have a thing about white feathers.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, every time we see it, it's a sign from heaven.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I got to have your sign today then.
Yeah, great. Twice.
I want to know how they got it in my kitchen. Because
well, they always find a way. Great. It's a good sign.
Okay, good. So that happened to me twice today, and
wow,
I was excited.
Yeah, great. I would tell my friend she was very pleased.
Oh, good. Well, maybe it's a sign for her then, just then, because sometimes it's not always for me.
It's always we always say it's a sign for my mom's, and her mom's birthday was yesterday. And my mom's birthday is Tuesday, so two white feathers is a great sign for us.
Oh, see, that doesn't give me chills, but that gives me the biggest grin on my face.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Oh, thank you Thanks, Moms, for letting me participate in that.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, that's an honor. Thank you to your moms.
Yeah.
To your moms. Yay.
Yes.
So, that's cool. So for people then who are not people in the Netherlands, if they want to learn about mediumship, I think you can go to, and everyone in Holland is speaking very good English. Let's not kid ourselves. Everyone is speaking very good English here. But I do think it's nice because everyone has their own specific language. And I know if you're speaking Dutch, at least in the beginning, it might be easier or, feel more comfortable to learn about what you're doing in your own language, because that's the more natural thing to speak, and it will flow much more easily. I know if I try to do a reading in Dutch, I get very tongue-tied, and I get out about the first 3 sentences, and then I say, "Can I please switch to English?" in a reading. But
it is much easier in your language, yes.
It is. So Anneke, she does teach. Do you do teachings in English or only in Dutch?
Well, when I have my colleagues over, they're English, so we do it in English and in Dutch. But sometimes I do a demonstration in English, but I always go straight back to Dutch because it's so much easier.
Yeah.
And but I can do it in English, but
you can.
It's easier in your own language.
So for people because I think we have some people from the Netherlands that are tuned in, especially because I knew that you would be on the show. So what courses do you have coming up, and what is the next one? Because you do if someone's starting, is everyone that's coming in, can they come in for one class, or do they have to go for the whole 3-year class? How does that work?
No, they can come in for just a workshop, like a day or 2-day workshop. Mm-hmm. I have different themes, something about colors, something about spirit guides, or just developing the basics of mediumship. And there's also the course, but you can do the course per year. Mm-hmm. So if after 1 year you think, well, that's not for me, then you can stop. But I do different things, so people can start with like a day workshop to see how they feel, if they like it and are interested to do more. So there's different possibilities.
Okay. I learned it a much different way when I started doing things, but I have to say I do like the style of mediumship that you do. I like the discipline of it. I like the cleanness of it, because it is very clear. What the communication, the way it's structured. I did learn so much by by studying that, because it sort of gave some discipline to the way that I was giving readings. And I think that, there are people who are natural mediums and become quite developed and develop their own style, but I think there's something to be said by, my dog is yelling out the window. Please get down, sir. But I think there's something to be said about, working with people who have studied different things, because it's not just about getting the information, but it's also about having a very well-rounded, background as far as like understanding symbolism, colors. It can be, you said you studied astrology. I'm sure that comes in some way. Everything, the more you know, the more you understand, the better you are overall.
Yeah. Some people are really good, say, with names. Other people are really good with symbology. And you make your own dictionary. Because if I can maybe send something special, say, I heard a story of someone who had someone passed from cancer, and before that person passed, they always had a special kind of fruit. And whenever he saw that fruit, he knew that someone passed of cancer. So that was his word for knowing that someone had cancer. And so you make your own dictionary. Maybe for someone, if I see a bike, well, that's very well known in Holland. But it can mean different things. It can mean that someone has a bike shop, or someone likes to collect bikes. It can mean different things. So just getting the picture is not enough. You have to go deeper into it to know what it means for you and what it means for the person that comes through.
Right.
And you said about the Patrick and the flowers. I was doing a demonstration a while ago, and I kept seeing a little cushion with pins on it. And I just said, it was right in my face. So after a while, I said, well, this person keeps showing me these little cushions with pins on it. So, but I don't have the feeling it has something to do with needles or whatever. And then they said, well, our last name is Pin, spelled in Holland.
Oh.
So the same thing you had with the flowers, I had with the pins.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So sometimes they show you something and you don't know what to do with it, and well, it can be something like that, like you had with flowers. So it's more than getting the information through. You have to work with the information, and that's what you learn in the courses, how to work with the information you get through.
Right, and interpret it and develop, like you said, your own dictionary, your own references. Yeah. Because you said it, and other, I know mediums have it, I have it as well. If I see a certain symbol, I know that it means this, I know that it means that. We have a couple callers, so I want to get to their questions in just 1 second, but I do want to preface that the question really needs to be on topic. It needs to be about mediumship, about developing your own mediumship. So if that is, if that's something that you want to talk to Anneke about, then continue to hold, and we'll just take your question. If you do want to call in, the number is 347-308-8788. If you push 1 on your keypad, we'll know that you're wanting to ask a question. There was something I wanted to bring up about developing. I've lost my question. I had it just 1 second ago, but why don't we take this caller if you're okay with that?
That's fine, great.
Okay, 1 second. Hello, this is someone from the 819 area code. Are you there?
Hello?
Hello? Yes,
hello?
Hi. Who am I speaking to? Hello?
Hi, Karen. This is Miglena Jordanova, calling from Canada.
Oh, great. Well, you're speaking with myself and with Anneke Klaassens. Did you have a question?
Yes, please. I would like to ask Anneke, question about my spirit guides. If she can send something, because I actually have this great desire for channeling, and I want to channel my guides, and I just don't know how to do it. So I just wanted to ask her if she can tune in and see if they have any message for me.
Okay. Well, about the spirit guides, I always feel that's a personal connection to someone, and you can actually contact your own spirit guides to see what they have to tell you. And how to do that is to sit in quiet and visualize your guide coming through you. And if you do that and at least take, say, about 10 to 15 minutes for that, and you can ask your guide maybe a symbol or a word, and ask them if they want to show you the symbol of the word, especially for you. And if you do it yourself, then you build this special connection to your guide, because the connection to your guide is special and personal. So I do see people's guides, but I always let them make their own connection to them and build their own connection, because it's so personal.
Okay. Thank you. Can I ask just one last question? I have father passed away many years ago, and I'm wondering if there is any message from him.
Sorry, I didn't hear the middle bit. Sorry.
We're having a lot of feedback. Do you have your radio turned on, or is the sound coming through your computer? Because we're getting a little bit of a feedback loop.
Oh, really? Actually, no. I was with the headset, and the headset.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make sure.
It's a little better now.
Okay.
What she was asking, Anneke's not doing readings tonight, but she would, because she's not going to do them on the radio. But if you wanted to get in contact with her, you could go onto her website and make a appointment with her. But I think but maybe Anneke can talk to you about how that you can connect also with your father.
Oh, okay, great. I'm misunderstood, but yes, thank you so much for the answer, and I wish all the best for both of you.
Well, thank you so much for calling.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. I think what you're saying is very important, that your guides. We were talking about this actually a little bit before the show started, that developing your relationship with your own guides yourself is a very, very important thing, more than having someone else tell you what your guides are saying.
Yes.
Because the connection that you build with them, however slow it may be, it could be that you start to sit down, you start to get information. Maybe it is just a flower or a feather, or a sun or something, some little thing, but it is the beginning of your own dialogue with your own guides.
Yes, because it's so personal. And today in the workshop I did today, I made all the come their own guides, and I did sort of a meditation visualization to connect them and to let them sense their own guides, and some of them were in tears because they felt a connection, and they all got a symbol or a word, and it's special, and that's why I never tell people about the guides. I just let them find out themselves, because it makes it so much more special.
I think it makes it more special, and it keeps the balance in the right area. I mean, no one is going to tell you about you better than you.
Yes.
You know, and your guides can be your higher self, which is just an extension, or they can be your angels who are around you, or those that are passed on that have made the agreement to come and help you in some way. But
Yes.
that guidance is there for you to be able to grow. So it's very important for people to understand that when it comes to connecting to the guides, it's like having it's an intimate relationship, you know, and I don't, you know, I'm not going to come to Anneke to talk to me about my boyfriend. I'm going to talk to my boyfriend myself, you know. See, but I mean, it's, you know, I mean, it'd be the same thing as if she has a relationship and then she asks me about a question about her relationship. Well, talk to the person who you're involved in the relationship with.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, I know she's good, but this isn't something she wants to do, probably.
Yeah, well, sometimes, because some of your guides are there for only a short period of time, and if I tell you, well, your guide is this and this, you get this picture, and you don't get any other information because you're stuck to the picture, and that's a shame, because you have to build a relationship like you have to build a relationship in life.
Right. I mean, you have, you know, sometimes you have guides that have been, I have a group of guides that have been with me my whole life, but I've had other teachers that have come and gone out of my experience. And some, you know, the first person I really ever had when I started doing mediumship was a gatekeeper who was just a very willing volunteer from the spirit world to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, but he wasn't there very long, but he had a good time doing it. Mm-hmm. And it was fun to interact with such a lighthearted spirit.
Yes.
But he kind of came in and he kind of more explained to me what the role of a gatekeeper should be.
Yes.
And then once he had done his job, then he just, you know, I don't know where he went, but he's not around me anymore. But people can have different kind of guides and different spirit guides. Have you had many? Have you had many different guides and people like that? And do you have someone you work with specifically now very much?
Well, I've recently discovered one of the new guides. Probably isn't so new, but he showed himself to me, and he even gave me a name, and I saw a picture of him, and I could look it up, and I actually found it on the internet.
Ooh,
so
cool.
Yeah, that was a real confirmation, and so there's 3 people working with me on a regular basis, and this one person, works with me more recently and is more of the philosophy. And have someone working for mediumship and someone working when I sit for trance.
Mm.
But,
do you do trance mediumship? I didn't know that you did that.
In a small group, so I do it publicly, but I just sit for trance mediumship, for trance speaking. Mm. So and I also do trance healing, but I just sit for it myself to develop for quite a while now, but it's developing and it takes time to develop. Yeah,
it does. So that brings to another question, because there's different in Dutch they're the helders. And in English, so the clairs, the clairvoyant, clairaudient. Can you give an explanation of what they are, and maybe you can say what you are, and how for people to know what it is that they would be if they're trying to understand their own gifts.
Yes, most people sense. They did a study with people, showing people pictures, and every 10 seconds they had to press a button and show another picture, different pictures, nice pictures, horrible pictures, and they found out that the heart knew before they were pressing the button of what picture they were going to see. They tested that. So everything comes in through clairsentience. So everyone, clairsentience is most developed. But I also use my seeing, and sometimes I can hear. Sometimes I can clearly hear a sentence being said, a word being said, but most of it goes through sensing. And I see in my classes that most people sense things first. Some people can get very clear pictures, but it most of the time it's the sensing and the seeing that's most developed. And they've got a new thing. Well, they say it's new. Clear knowing. It's just knowing certain things. So it's a bit mixed together. But the seeing and the sensing is most of the time most developed by most people. And hearing, you can hear sometimes words or you can hear a sound of maybe a clock or a bird or and you can also smell things. You can also smell sometimes smoke or a special deodorant someone wore, or something special. But not many people smell that much.
Right.
Most people sense and see.
And you, what do you? What is your?
I sense and see. Sensing is the strongest, and seeing and knowing. And sometimes I hear. I keep hearing more. It's developing as well.
Are you hearing inside your head or actually outside? Like we're
inside.
Inside your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what most people do. They hear inside their heads. And there aren't many people that can hear outside.
Yeah, I don't hear outside. I hear definitely inside. I don't see with my physical eyes usually, though sometimes I do, very rarely. But I usually see inside my head.
Yes.
I've only had smelling once or twice.
Yeah.
And it always is very surprising. Like I'm like, what is that?
Yes.
And even the smelling, I would say it's more like I get the idea of the smell than I'm actually smelling it. Yes.
It is. I always thought you had to actually see it with your own eyes. Like you, if I look at the chair now, I have to see the chair like I see the chair now. But it isn't like that. It's pictures that are built up inside your head, and it's if you think of a chair now. Everyone probably can see a chair, and every chair they see is different.
Right.
Some people have a red chair, but you can sense everything. You can even sense colors. I sometimes look at people and I sense the color, but I'm sensing the color around them. So it's not actually seeing the way you look at things around you. It's seeing within the head, as you say.
Right. Do you ever? And I don't know if you get this, but sometimes, if someone has done drugs or passed on in a way from a drug overdose, I'll feel quite disoriented and quite high. For a moment, and once I identify it, then it goes.
Yes.
But there can be a moment where I feel very, la like.
Yeah, I used to have that with people that suffered from dementia, and the first pieces of information were always wrong, and I was confused. And once I started to find out, okay, they suffered from dementia or Alzheimer. Once I spoke, I said it was gone.
Yeah.
The information came. So, yeah, it can happen also when someone was really maybe suffered from lung problems and they couldn't breathe much.
Right.
You
can't breathe.
You can't breathe.
Right.
And once you say it, it's gone.
Yes, exactly. It's like once you identify it, it's gone. It's just there for the moment.
Yes, and if I say, well, I can sense that this person passed from a heart attack, it doesn't mean that I get a heart attack, but it's just my attention goes to my heart, and so it's not getting the actual heart attack, but it's the attention goes to it.
I'm just reading on Facebook, your friend Jeanette.
Yes.
She said, I saw the thing about the feathers, yay. So I guess that's the one whose mother is sending feathers, and your mother is sending feathers.
Yes.
So this year I got the feathers, yay. I think it's nice because that's mediumship at work, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And she must be listening, so I'm glad she heard it.
Yeah, me too. And again, I'm really honored that your mother's let me participate in it this year.
Yeah, so. Great. It keeps amazing me how the spirit world works if they want to bring a message through. And being a medium, I do get messages from my students, but it's hard to contact your own people in the spirit world. So getting a message like this always is amazing and special to me as well. And because people think sometimes, oh, you're a medium, you get many messages and speak. It's getting messages from my own people, and especially my mom. It's special and amazing. So thank you for that.
Well, I did, again, they get all the credit, don't they? Because they're the ones doing it. But I will say that it was very clear to me that I had to put that feather on.
Yeah.
And I really had to. And I had to work with, I tried to make that poster so many times. Yeah. And I kept thinking, why can't I get this correct? And then finally I put the feather on. I'm like, oh, now it looks really good. Yeah. And then I thought, okay, it has to be black or white. And And I know that you really like sort of pinks and purples.
Yes.
So I specifically used that color for you.
Good. Thank you.
So, because your house is very sort of pink and white, which I thought was beautiful. And then I think your website has that on, and I thought, okay, I really have to do this the right way. So, there was a lot of direction coming.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that shows you how the spirit world works, and they must be very pleased that we are having this conversation together.
I guess so, and so thank you to them. And it's funny because sometimes they don't let up. Like, you have to do it this way, and they'll stand by you and make sure that you do it.
Yes.
And you don't know why.
So I'm happy that it shows it is better to come to you, that the moms are pleased with what you're doing. So great. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Confirmation.
We're coming towards the end of the show, so I want to give people just a chance to know how to contact you. Just again, it's Anneke Klaassens.nl. And for people who are not understanding that, what that spelling would be, because they're not Dutch. It's very typical Dutch. Well, actually, it's not typical Dutch because it's double A. But then you would spell Anneke, Anneke, and then Klaassens is KLAASSENS.NL for the Netherlands. So Anneke Klaassens.nl. You can see her name on the Blog Talk site. You would just add NL to it, and you would be able to get in touch with you for a reading. And if they're lucky enough to be in Holland for a class, they can come and do a study with you, either a workshop or maybe do the entire mediumship study.
Yes,
I don't think they could be taught by a better medium. So
thank you very much.
Well, it's important, I think, to find someone. Maybe we should just say something like that. But I know you've had Mavis Patella, who's really been I would say, your mentor, a very big influence. I think it's important. I've had a woman named Caroline Hart, who's been with me my entire spiritual journey. Mm-hmm. And it's important to have that person, I think, that can guide you, give you feedback, inspire you, and really help you develop in yourself.
Yeah, because when you're developing, you get a lot of questions, and some mediums just teach you how to do exercises, but I always, and I'm taught that by Mavis, is to look at people and give them feedback on their work, because you get your doubts, you think, oh, am I doing the right thing? Am I going the right way? And I'm just trying my best to guide them personally as much as I can. And it needs exercising, and you need to do the exercises, and then you need to develop their own way. But it's nice to get some feedback, and I've had that, and I'm lucky to have had that, and so I'm trying my best to give my students the same thing.
Well, that's lovely, because it is an important work, and it's not about, like we said in the beginning, it's not a party trick. Oh, look at me tapping into the other side. It's about being, like you said, being the bridge to the other side, and bringing forward messages for people that give them comfort, and then help them grow, and to help them find peace in this life, so that they can live it to the fullest, and to understand that no one is really ever gone. They're just not here in their physical body.
Mm-hmm. And that love lives on forever, and that's the connection you have. And even though they're not here with us in the physical world, they're still with us in the spirit world, and they will do everything they can to help you and to guide you and to love you.
That's nice. I think that's a good place to stop.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Anneke, thank you so very much for being on the show. It was really an honor to talk to you and to hear about the things that you're doing and that you're teaching and that you're sharing with other people, because, again, it is such an important work, and it's an important to do it in a way that's honest and open and focused on the right things, and not so much about trying to become famous as a medium, but trying to do the work for the work itself and being committed to that. So I thank you for the work that you're doing, and I thank you for the teaching that you're giving and for being on the show.
Well, thank you very much for the invite. I really enjoyed it, and you keep on with doing what you're doing, because that's very important as well. And thank you so much for asking me to come on your show. It's an honor.
Oh, well, thank you so very much. So to everyone, I'd like to say very nice good evening, good night, good day, wherever you are in the world. And please tune in next week. Next week is going to be a show, and we're going to be doing something different. And I've been wanting to do it, but since the show started, I've had so many guests, which has always been a nice thing. But next week, we're going to be studying the Bhagavad Gita, and we're going to be looking at some of the Vedantic spiritual texts of Hinduism, which is my study and also my great love. So I'm hoping to share that with you. We will have a special guest on next week, but you won't know who they are. So you have to tune in. And so next week I will see you. And again, Anneke, thank you very much. And to everyone, good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.